I have a proposition, fellas. I figure maybe we could have just a group meeting. Maybe it makes the pod. Maybe we cut it out.
Okay.
I would like to, what do you call it when you sort of sit around and whatever, proposition. I don't think we should do intros anymore.
Okay.
All the great pods, you just press play and bam, you're in it. I think intros are outdated.
Okay.
What do you think?
Fuck intros. What do we care?
I was listening to a Mr. Beast interview the other day, and he talks about like all the pointless things that people still do. Like in movies, they still do like the title sequence at the beginning. Yeah, they do stuff at the beginning. They do like, written by, here we come, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, what? That's a retention. Everyone's just dropping off the moment you do that. Obviously, you're stuck in a movie theater. But if we're thinking retention, I think people just hit play, and here we are. So
I agree with that. I think
I'm open to
in the context of a movie. No offense to the people in the creative industry, no one gives a shit who wrote, produced, directed anything, right?
Yep.
You just want to be entertained. Maybe at the end, I'm more intrigued at the end. If I liked something, I was like, man, the music was so good. Who did it? Oh, that actor was incredible. Who is that person?
There's no way you're waiting for that. There's no way.
But it's,
he's on the plane. He's had a few cocktails. He's like, who wrote the fucking music?
Yeah, there's this chance I might care at that point. Like when you hang out with like people who think they're like movie buffs, so they'll be like, oh, it was directed by Christopher. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, no one knows who fucking directed anything. Like zero people know who directed. So I agree with that. The one thing on the podcast tip, the one thing I think we don't do well is basically nobody. If you're a new listener and you didn't start with us from the beginning, you have no idea who we are.
Yeah,
you're just like.
But don't you think like
for example, there's a lot of people who think this is my profession.
Yeah. Yeah.
People come to me and goes, oh, what if you just do the pod, right? And I was like, well, it makes no money, so that would be tough.
But I think like social media I'm just thinking about all the pods that I listen to, and no one does intros, and I don't think that our intro
matters,
adds any value. I don't think anyone says, man, do I want to listen to this episode? I don't know. Let me hear this like half-hearted intro.
Yeah,
let's see what people say.
Joe Rogan's the biggest podcaster in the world. He just said, let's go.
Yeah, and he plays the music first. We could play the music first. So that people feels familiar, or if it comes up, like maybe it auto plays after what they're listening to, and then you hear
I don't even want the music.
All right. Yeah. I think we see what people say, but I just think that in this age of podcasting, people want to get right into it. Like when I read a book, I don't read the fucking glossary.
Yeah.
Essentially what we're doing is like giving a half-hearted glossary. Like, well, we're talking about the hurricane and we got a lot of news. You guys ready? Like, it's just kind of silly.
It's a great point.
Let's see what people say. It might help our retention. And then I do think, D, I empathize with that issue, but I guess that's what like social media, I don't know.
Yeah, you got to figure it out. I guess if you don't know who we are, you just got to figure it out.
Because the last thing we want to do is like an intro that's like, D, founder of Ghost, formerly, Anand Murthy, a brilliant investor.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's tough because I don't want to rehash our history every episode. I think that's stupid.
Whatever.
Like I was at a birthday the other day and I ran into someone maybe a week ago. This is the pod. They didn't even know Anand and I are brothers.
Seriously?
Yeah, that's your brother?
They just thought you were two buddies?
Yeah, because like if you just listen to it on TikTok and then occasionally listen to an episode, you have no idea.
That's true. I have people I know like that I know very well that like Kareen's friends, like that's how well. So like they know me really well, not my best friend, but you get it. And they listen to us on audio only, and they've told me before that they can't tell, like they mix us up.
Well, let me tell you how you're not to mix me up. I'm not woke.
Yeah, he's wide awake. I mean, he's asleep. He's asleep.
I'm sleeping. I'm sleeping.
Well, let me say this. If we were going to add our resumes to the intro, one thing that we would all have to add as of today is storm chasers, because we are reporting live from the eye of Hurricane Hilary. Not only that, we had a hurricane, I believe they're calling it online. And I want to say props to Anand. D and I are both recording from home. Anand is in that old ass building over on Wilshire. I don't know if I trust that thing to hold up in a quake.
Me and Ari are holding it down.
Yeah, I'm good on that building.
I don't know about that building in a quake, man. I don't know if I trust it. So, I mean, here we are. This is as bad as it's been all day is right now. So that's great.
Yeah.
Great time to talk about it. And then we got hit with an earthquake in the middle of it.
So I think ultimately, it was not a hurricane that hit LA. I think maybe Baja Peninsula was very different. So, I'll reserve my opinion. I don't know the facts on that. I would say in LA, it was not a hurricane. It was heavy rains. The one thing I think the purpose that was served that they actually did a good job on is, I think inherently your average person is a moron. Right? They're a fucking idiot. And I think if you did not warn people, they would have just continued on with their day. And God forbid it was a hurricane, it would have been a disaster. And ultimately it was not. And hopefully tonight's mellow and things go back to normal tomorrow. But I think what I appreciate, given what happened in Maui, which was like a lot of citizens there felt like they were not warned with ample time. And I think given that and given just where we're at as society, better to be safe than sorry. This is Mother Nature. It's not predictable, right? Like some stupid power line could go down that could cause a fire, that could cause a collapse. You just don't know, because like the infrastructure in general is not great anywhere. So like I'm okay with the fear that it caused people to stay home. Look, I'm glad that everyone gets to make fun of it and it was a joke and it's fine. But like, Mother Nature is fucking scary.
So here's my point, that everyone could Google it. We could Google where Hurricane Hilary was coming from and where it was going to hit. It was very clear yesterday, this morning, this afternoon, that it wasn't hitting Los Angeles.
Not a hurricane, but rains and wind was. They just didn't know the wind intensity level.
You broke up. Sorry.
I was saying the rain.
No, Hurricane Hilary. You can look at the actual image.
I agree with you.
It wasn't even close to LA.
I know, not the hurricane, but rain and wind in August.
But rain and wind happen all the time. We've had the rainiest last 12 months in the history of Los Angeles.
We've never had rain in like this in August. We just haven't.
But August is different than today. April?
No, it is, because it's unpredictable, given that it was the end of August in Los Angeles and it's hot out.
My point is, like, you could have Googled it and prepared yourself appropriately.
I know, but you have to warn people. You have to warn people.
Anand, you're not even necessarily arguing with like the way the news handled it or anything, right? You're just saying that if you really were concerned, you could have looked it up and it was exactly as it looked on Google.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was already Los Angeles.
And by the way, I think a lot of people who chose to do that went on with their day and they did whatever they wanted. And that's fine too. I think it's better to give everyone all the information they can get and they can decide what they want. And all the news in the media was saying was like, rain is coming, maybe a hurricane's coming, be prepared. There's a lot of people. There is power outage. There's 12,000 homes in the LA County area that do not have power right now. That's real. That's affecting 50,000 people. That's real. So it's just like, we have to be like mindful that it is affecting somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I don't think Anand's even arguing with you, really. I think, but it's funny because I actually do kind of sit in the middle. I just think, look, I think you're right, D. And if I had to choose, I would choose the side of over caution with, like, Mother Nature as opposed to the opposite. But I'm just a little jaded now of like, I know what the intentions are of the news. And if I believe that the intentions were actually to over prepare people, I wouldn't make fun of it. But the reason why I think it's fun to make fun of is because the intentions are just to sensationalize and to get clicks and to get viewers. And, my mom called me like so nervous last night. Like, oh my God, you guys are about to get slammed.
I was getting texts from our cousins like, are you guys okay? Earthquake, hurricane. And I was like, we're fine. Everyone's fine.
Yeah, not everyone's fine. I guarantee if you talk to your friends in Malibu, they may have a different view. They live in an area where rain is affected very differently than our part of town. So I don't think everyone is fine. I don't think that's a fair statement.
There's 12 million people. So what's the number?
Anyone who dies is a problem. If you think that's okay, then that's a different view of the world than I have.
I mean,
I don't think anyone would die. I don't think anyone would die today because of...
silly comment.
I know.
12 million people. How many people are affected?
50,000? That's a lot.
What are we talking about? Power out?
Yeah.
So sub 1%.
Yeah,
for a few hours.
Yeah, if it was you would have a different view of it. That's a difference.
No, I'd be having a candlelight. I don't know what I'd probably order.
No, but I'm just saying you have to play it by the numbers, right?
That's you.
We're fighting. Look, guys, we're coming in hot this episode. We're fighting before we're even fighting.
Yeah.
I think we all have a similar take. I just think that it's fun to make fun of the news because I think, like, look, let me say this. Then I'm not making fun of any of the LA news, but I am making fun of the news in the entire rest of the country that used it for a story to do things like freak my mom out. And my mom literally calling me all day, not believing that I was telling her the truth, thinking that I was lying to her to make her feel good, because that's how convinced she was that we were facing a severe hurricane. And then when the earthquake hit, then they get the news about that. Then it's like, oh my God, Southern California, earthquakes and hurricanes. Oh my God.
Yeah, I think that's the job of the media, right? They just want you to pay attention, and they are incredibly good at that all the time. They want to. It's fear. It's fear porn, and that shit works. I'm not saying that is good, but I think you just don't know how these things.
I'll take that.
Yeah, exactly.
I would take the fear porn and over prepared over, like what some people, you're right, are saying about Maui, which is there were alarms and there were things that weren't used.
Yeah, I think everyone needs to actually do their research. So similarly, how I said in February of 2020 that COVID was going to come and lock down our cities, you have to do the research.
This is why I don't believe in AI for meaning every person's going to have limitless power, because people are fucking lazy. They just watch the news and they're like, oh, fuck it. Like, why would you Google it?
Yeah,
it's so easy to Google and see.
All I did was a Google search, and I saw where the storm was going, and I saw that it was not hitting Los Angeles.
Yeah,
I'm not saying I'm empathetic to the places it hit. I knew it was not hitting where I live.
Yeah. So you have all the tools to be like a grade A meteorologist in 1990, but most people still just watch the news. And I just think that's, what people like to do. You take the easy, tell me what's going on. People don't want to have like a...
And it was easy media porn, right? CNN, Los Angeles, hurricane, earthquake. One of the biggest cities in the world is collapsing.
Plus climate change, man.
Easy. That's so easy.
Yeah. The world like to push the climate change. That's the problem.
Yeah. I know, Anand, I'm not trying to go in on your crew here for the climate change thing.
He was the most scared about the hurricane of anyone I know.
I just said you better to be prepared.
He literally was terrified.
No, I was not terrified.
He's the MAGA guy that is so terrified of the hurricane.
I said...
He absolutely was terrified. I could bring up the text messages. You want to bring up the text messages? I can bring up the text messages.
Bring up the text messages.
He was terrified.
I also said you're a moron for eating outside literally an hour ago. So I think you're an idiot. For eating outside.
I had a great meal with both my kids.
Why would you eat outside in the rain? That's so fucking stupid.
You had a hurricane dinner.
I had a great meal. I FaceTimed my mom the entire time. It was awesome.
Well,
I just over like an awning or something.
Yeah, we were covered.
I get it.
He was talking about eating outside, so I thought you were just sitting there getting wet like a fucking moron.
Imagine him and the family. They're just in the rain.
Yeah, they're just honest. Like, I have to prove a point. There's no hurricane. Everyone's getting wet tonight.
No, we had a great pizza. We had great risotto. It was great.
Yeah. Well, look, I do think, and this is a touchy subject. Why
is it touchy?
No, this part. I'm gonna say it. Like, you just got a note from Ari.
What's the note?
Please stop yelling. Oh, shut the fuck up.
I think that climate change is real. I think that humans are affecting it. So let me just put that on the table. But I do think that any story now that falls into the look at how crazy climate change is, like, really gets sensationalized. So like, wow, hurricanes in LA, we're all going to be dead in 10 years. Like, it just feeds into that narrative. Right. And
no, that's fair.
We've had worse storms than this just pretty much once every winter since I've lived here.
Yeah.
No, agree. And we can move on. And I want to actually talk about a couple things with D. This is not confrontational.
No, yeah.
I don't mind if it is. I think it's better for content if we fight.
Yeah, I agree. I think D does like push-ups before these episodes.
Dodger game Friday night. D, go.
Oh yeah, we got this is awesome. Friday, John Jay, who's actually been on the pod. Has he actually been on the pod or just listened in?
I think he has.
Maybe. I think he's been on.
He's definitely come. He's a really old friend of ours. Sports Illustrated
I've known
cover.
him 15, 20 years.
Yeah. Won the World Series with the Cardinals, retired maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, is now a coach on the Miami Marlins. And, we hung out Thursday night and he's in town because they're playing the Dodgers. And he's a very close friend of ours. And he's like, you guys want to come by the game? And I was like, it was all night games, and then Sunday was a day game, but it was like 12 o'clock, and we had like a birthday and the hurricane. I just didn't want to deal with that. So so I wake up in the morning and I talk to the kids. I was like, "You guys want to go to a baseball game tonight?" They're like, "Yeah." And so John hooks it up, gives us tickets to the game, but also batting practice, which you've gone to the Dodger games. You've thrown out the first pitch.
Yeah.
Which I think I still have your jersey from that day.
That's amazing. I have the ball.
Yeah, I have the jersey.
Yeah.
My kids, just recently recognized sports, whatever, and what's going on. And so I was like, all right, let's go. We'll go to the batting practice early, and then we won't stay the whole game, but, we'll leave 7:30, 7:45. The game started at 7. So we got there like at 5:15, get on the field, batting practice. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, our childhood going to a sporting game was like the most epic. It was very special, like going to a baseball game, Laker game, Clipper game, whatever it was. And I remember vividly all those experiences, and they were very fun. My kids are probably a little younger than our first game to go to anything. So Dominic's turning 6 this week, and Miles is turning 3 this week. And so they get on the field, which is insane.
Yeah.
Batting practice, insane. Which is insane in itself. And then we're sitting there playing, and then Rafa, our friend who Anand went with to the game, was talking to an old client of his. And he had his bat. And he was like right next to Miles and Dominic, and Miles goes to me. He goes, "I want that." And I go, "What do you want?" And he goes, "I want that bat." And I gotta go ask him.
No, so the guy, he's like a stud on the Marlins. Says like, "Hey, I'm gonna go do batting practice, and I'll give you the bat right after."
Oh, and so did Miles go up to him and ask him?
When Miles goes to me, he goes, "I want that." And the guy heard, I want that. So he was being really nice. So then he goes batting practice and comes back, and he gives Miles the bat, and my
you know
wife,
what's funny? Yo, D, hold on.
Yeah.
So the player came out and he looked at me and Rafa and was like about to give it to this little Asian baby. I was like, no, Mijo over here. And then he gave it to fucking Miles.
That's amazing.
and then he gives him the bat, and then Haley's like, Miles, give him the bat back. Like, what are you doing? By the way, the bat is like massive, right? It's like, and he's like a 2-year-old. And I was like, I think he gave him the bat. It's like his bat.
He definitely gave him the bat.
I know he did. I was trying to explain to her in real time. And I was like, no, you got the bat. It's his bat. And these kids got balls, bat, and Miles is like dragging this bat around Dodger Stadium. And dude, check this out. This is kind of wild. The security comes and goes, hey, we don't like people sitting with bats in the stands.
Yeah.
Because for obvious reasons. But can I put it in the dugout? Can you get it after the game? And I said, we're not going to stay that late. Is there any way I can like check it with the stroller? Because they have a check-in for the stroller. He's like, honestly, if you check it with the stroller, it's gone. These people are thieves. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
So he goes, I was like, oh, what should I do then? He's like, where's your car? I'm like, not too far. He's like, all right, I'm going to, just think about it from this perspective. We've all gone to sporting event. This guy walked me to the gate, told the security guy, he's like, he's going to walk out, unscan his ticket, unscan my ticket. I went out and came back in. Remember how many times we've been told,
oh, that's impossible.
You can't go in and out.
So you actually walked out of the stadium, put the bat in your car, and came back in? Yes. No way.
Yes.
That's supposedly the impossible task.
That's actually impossible.
The security guy from the field was like, where are you sitting? And I go, right there. And he goes, all right, tell your wife and kids you'll be back in 10 minutes. So I tell Haley, we're going to go. I go, they let me go back to my car and come back.
Wow. What a great experience.
Yeah.
It was good.
That's so good. Well, I would only imagine, because I have those moments too, like where I remember going to like Indians games or whatever. And I just can only imagine that like those memories, I don't know, that would just be the coolest thing ever when you're that age. Like, I mean, it might be a little hard to remember.
Might as well remember.
I don't have a bunch of those experiences, but I just, those things
are like.
What's
funny is Dominic, because we got there late, so we couldn't get on the field. We were literally on the first row. And Dominic's like, why are you on the other side?
Oh my God. We know how he's going to be. That's going to be him at the row.
But then we went to our seats and Anand was sitting row 1 and we were 50 rows back.
We got to humble him a little bit.
Yeah. He goes, where's And then Miles the whole day goes, I see Uncle. And he's pointing like 15 miles away. I'm like, that's not him.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I just can only imagine. Like, it's hard to remember, when I guess we do remember them. It's just hard to imagine, like, because to us now, and also we talk a lot about how, spoiled we are, how many cool things we've been a part of. And so for us, like going to a random Dodger game is like, it's cool, but, but to kids, man, it just, those experiences are
I was trying to explain to my kids on the way home. I'm like, do you know how many kids brought their glove to the stadium in the hopes to catch a ball?
Yeah.
And these kids got multiple balls.
They got 3 balls.
They got 3 balls and a bat.
And a bat. Didn't have to fight for anything. There's kids over in the home run zone ready to fight.
Literally, like when we were walking out, people just kept handing them balls because it was only the last kids left. So like, here's a ball, here's a ball.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
It's really funny, and Rafa, who listens to the pod, who's like a really big baseball agent, gave me tickets last year to the home run derby, and that was the first sporting event I ever took Dominic to, and his client was in the All-Star game. And the next day we went to the All-Star game and Mikey, our friend, had got me great tickets and Rafa was with us and Rafa got a ball from his client and gave it to Dominic. He has like an all-star game in LA baseball, which is
He's
so
very
crazy.
spoiled.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. You're going to have a problem.
No, but, and I'll actually, like, it was a really cool moment. So I was sitting with Rafa at the game, and he's a baseball agent, and one of his clients got called up to the big leagues while we were sitting watching the Dodger game.
Wow. Like he found out about it?
He found out about it, and then he started texting the Cincinnati Reds general manager. They're like trying to figure out logistics, and I was like, "This is so fucking cool!"
Wow,
like
cool.
I saw it like real time that he was like figuring it out.
Yeah,
it was really cool.
There's just nothing like I even watched a little bit of the draft this year because I got caught up in the Wembanyama hype. But like, there's just nothing like making it to the major leagues as an athlete. Like, I mean, maybe other than like signing a record deal. Like, I just don't know if there's anything.
I don't think it is because this is so public. Sports is public. Like, record deal we don't know about.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you're right. You don't know unless you have to then go succeed.
If you think about the conversation that Rafa was having with this guy's family, it's life-changing.
Yeah.
And I'm witnessing him having this conversation with his family like he made it.
Yeah. That's why I was watching the draft, like, feeling like I was going to tear up because even though those guys know, I only watched the first round, those guys all know they're going to do well, but like you're watching the moment. Yeah. Like that is the moment where it actually became official. And there's just nothing like it. I even watched that show, Swagger. Yeah. And
so good.
Yeah, like you just feel that in that moment.
Yeah, it's so good.
That's great. Okay. Ready for some news?
So one more announcement.
What?
D's got another one.
I got a personal announcement, and I want to share to the Cathys first.
There you go.
So, I've been working like a crazy person the last 6 months, and actually the last 2 years, and we finally closed our Series B investment for Ghost.
Amazing.
So it's going to get announced tomorrow. Josh is going to come on Wednesday just to chat about the process and what we're going to do. But we raised $30 million to really build out what we're doing.
The first round? 10?
The Series A was 13.5 million, and the seed was 5. So if you do the math, we've raised a lot of money. We're spending a lot of money.
That's amazing.
But
what you're telling me is my Bloomberg station's fine.
The Bloomberg station's fine. You can keep it running. I think I'm excited to just dive into it on Wednesday with Josh. But I'll tell you that shit's hard. It is hard out there. Yeah. And I think we do this podcast. We all run businesses. We all have our own lives, and we'd like to keep it light and not talk about the serious shit in our life. Yeah. But the last 4 or 5 months, it's been borderline miserable. And it's really tough out there to raise money, raise an up round, raise a lot of money, and and sell people your vision. You guys are all out there doing stuff, and you know how hard it is. And I think everyone listening knows how hard it is. So I think it's a big accomplishment, but a lot of work to do. And as you know, when you do these types of things, you have a gun to your head, and you now have to deliver.
We can wait for Josh to kind of dive in, but I'm in the office every day with these guys, and I saw how much stress and chaos it was the last 3 months.
Yeah,
it was very stressful.
The last 3 months, because that's when you were raising. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So
meaning how do you close around? How do you close around? How do you get the money in the bank?
Yeah. Because we started having conversations in late April, early May. We're talking August now, and it happened relatively quickly. But and it's just the world is different, right? Shit changed, and you really have to prove that you're doing something special, or you don't get support. And so I see a lot of people on social media complaining, but if you do the right thing and you build something special, there's money. There's always money. Yep. There's mega companies like Zimmerman got bought for $1 billion, and I just saw, if you look at Creed that got bought for $3+ billion, or Aesop for $2.5 billion, like incredible businesses are getting bought. And I think it just shows that like you really have to execute. Like the song and dance is nice, but you got to execute.
Yeah. You should really, I know you kind of talked about it the last time you raised, but I feel like with Josh or whatever is right, like you should go into it. Like,
we'll give the details.
Like, I think a lot of our audience, I would hope this, even though like sometimes we kind of bubble talk, I do think that people feel like we're relatable, like more relatable than a lot of the types of people that talk about this shit. And I just feel like hearing your take on raising that amount of money, how hard it is to raise it, but the fact that, like you just said, it is there if you have the right story and the right thing, and then what you do with it. And like you said, also just in that tidbit, having a gun to your head and the good and bad about having that type of money. And everyone hears $30 million and thinks, oh, it must be nice. You just get to roll around in cash all day, but it's a very different thing than that. Like, I think that's really valuable.
And I'll tease you with this, and we'll talk about the rest on Wednesday. The day the money hit our account, I was happy in the morning. I think I cried with my wife for like 30 seconds and I stressed the fuck out. That was it.
Yeah.
Literally, like I can't, because it's not the end result. And there's an article that came out. If you follow Information, they sent it out over the weekend. It was an email. They sent out that basically being the founder of a startup in any industry is an ultra marathon that never ends.
Yeah.
And if you work in Hollywood and you work on a movie or a television show, you film a season, you film a movie, and it's over.
Yeah.
As a startup founder, what is our end?
Yeah. An exit.
Yeah, it's an exit, right? Like, and most people never see an exit. That doesn't mean you don't make money along the way, but even if you make a ton of money along the way, you are running the entire time. You never get to stop. Like,
so I'll actually kind of jump in, and I think when you hit a milestone in your life where you think like, okay, this is where I get to be happy. This is where I like life is chill.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist.
No,
meaning like your life is your life, and it doesn't matter if you had a financial windfall. It doesn't matter if you had like some sort of security in your life. Everything still exists in your life, and you just kind of keep going.
Yeah.
The thing that I've been thinking about too a lot is like, if you sold, like I'm 36, if I sold a business right now for like whatever, life-changing, a lot of money. Yeah. I've really been thinking to myself, like, what would I do? Like, well, I'd play a lot of golf. I'd definitely be in the studio for every episode on group chat.
You join a country club. Sure.
I'd join a country club. And then probably like 3 months in, I would start thinking of the next thing to work on. Like at my age and without kids and like that whole thing. Like, and so to your point, Anand, I think that, I don't know. I don't have the answer. It's just, that's a topic I've been thinking about is like, well, what would I would want to continue the race anyway. So it's almost like, I don't know, how do you run the race at an enjoyable pace that you actually just have, somewhat of a decent balance and you enjoy your life. But like when you talk about having no finish line, I don't, even with a big exit of some sort or whatever, I don't know exactly what it would be 3 months until I would get eager to start the race all over again.
I think it's tough for, people that have similar personalities to all of us and are generally on the younger side of life. Like, it's really, really hard to have the finish line because I don't know. I haven't made life-changing money yet, so I don't know. Maybe if I got life-changing money, I may change my perspective on things.
Yeah, maybe.
But like right now, it just, the good part is I have the energy and I'm excited and I love it and I love what I do. I've never fucking worked harder in my entire life. Like I'm driving to fucking Vegas butt crack early in the morning because the flights are going to be canceled in the morning. Like I want it more than ever, but there's a cost to all that, right? Like not spending time with my wife, not spending time with my children, like not hanging with my friends, not having, there's a cost to all those things. So I think like, I'm curious to see if I get the end result I want, if my life will be different.
Yeah.
I honestly think your personality won't change at all. And I think you'll actually have like more freedom. Like, you'll be able to like provide more for your family and whatever. But I don't think it's going to change your mindset.
Yeah. That's kind of sad.
Maybe for 6 months. Like I think you'll have a window, you'll have like a really fun 6 months or something.
That's kind of sad.
I don't even think
right?
so. I don't think it's 6 months. I actually don't.
So I'll tell you why. I think I talked about this on the pod maybe a few months ago. I saw it on social media, and it's someone posted that the only people that will remember that you worked hard are your children.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of dark.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not there.
Yes.
Right? Is that your point?
Yeah. That's your point.
I don't know. I have a slightly more positive outlook on it.
Okay.
So I think your children will remember that you worked hard, which will, as long as you don't neglect them, like dad was never there, hardly even know my dad. That will inspire them to work hard. And I think some of the greatest joy and fulfillment that I've gotten out of life is the results of working hard. As long as you're not, none of us are like psychopath, never see our loved ones, right?
Yeah.
D, maybe you not as much as you would like, but you're around. Like they don't not know who dad is.
Of course.
And to be honest with you, like, as long as you're not neglecting that, some of the most happiest, fulfilling things have been the results of hard work, hitting those benchmarks, being proud. That moment of what you just did, raising $30 million. Like, I know that it kind of fades fast because you go right back into the race. But like, I do believe that when you're old, you're going to look back first and foremost with the time with your wife and kids. But right after that, your achievements and your ability to hustle and make shit happen, and you've created jobs for people in that scenario. You've created things in the world. I don't know. When I look at a lot of like the despair in this country, like a lot of the just complete despair that we see, I think a lot of that is from a lack of purpose and personal achievements and striving for something and owning something. And, and I think
that's fair.
As long as you do it in a healthy way, your kid growing up knowing that hard work is what makes the needle move, arms them with real fulfillment. Like think about kids that are born to either rich parents, really, really rich parents where hard work doesn't matter for them, or people that are born to really lazy parents that get instilled with like laziness. Those are some of the most unhappy people that we're around. Fair. People that work hard and strive. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's I guess it's a combination of seeing people talk about like the never ending marathon. Mm-hmm. And the thing is like the highs are high, the lows are so fucking low. Yeah, it's just like
I think that's what gets rid of, if you had life-changing money and then started another thing, I think you get rid of those really low lows.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because the really low lows come
I think
from
experiencing the low lows makes the rest of the journey really easy.
Yes, I agree. And I think it builds a lot of character. But I do think that if you experience enough low lows and you're lucky enough to hit life-changing money where you know that you're all good, you know that your kids are all good, I think you do get to enter the next thing. You still have to work your fucking ass off. But I think that you do it with the knowledge that you're not going to, your kids aren't going to starve if things don't go well. You know what I'm saying? Like you take that level of stress out of it, I think you can have a little bit more fun.
I don't feel comfortable sharing a lot of personal stuff, and I will share it one day. But the last 18 months of my life batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Batshit crazy. And like, I'll share it one day. I don't feel comfortable yet, but yeah, I think if I get to that point, then maybe I'll have a different view of the world.
Yeah. I also just am a believer. Maybe this is wrong. And maybe there's people that we know a lot of them that have done really well for themselves and would tell me this is silly. But I think, not to get too philosophical, I think the sort of marathon of life like never ends.
Yeah.
Like things come up, you know, family things or health things, or like, I think either way, we all signed up for the marathon. We might as well like run it the happiest we can and enjoy the grind. But like, I don't personally know anyone that I feel like has truly escaped the marathon of life and just cruises.
Well, no, you can't, right?
Well, I mean, I think it would be a good example as your cousin, Rob, right? Like, does he he never has to work again.
No, but his point is different, right?
No,
his
but
point
like
is different.
It's
like you're escaping like the reality of life.
Yeah. So like so I could try to, once again, there could be people who have done it, but I'll use my cousin as an example. My cousin never has to work again. Has a beautiful family, has all of it, is, I believe, a very happy person. But
like, if you looked at the outside, he has every box checked ever in life.
Yep. But here's the thing. This is my point, is he still works harder than most people I know. Like, he still has the thing. He's still in the marathon. Yeah. It's just that he gets to do it knowing that the downside is not very severe. But he still, if you asked him today, he acts like what he's accomplished or the amount of money he has or whatever is nothing. And the next thing is going to be the great thing. And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying no matter what, you can't help but like run the race. And the goal, I think, is to run it as, you know, sort of peacefully or I don't even want to say happily, because I think that's a little bit of a false, you know, thing you're shooting for. But like, you know, without those severe lows.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, fucking congratulations, D.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's big news. TechCrunch tomorrow?
TechCrunch tomorrow morning. Generally speaking, we don't do press. I'm trying to remain a very low profile for the business because we have a long fucking way to go. But, you know, unfortunately, SEC filings release the number of dollars you've raised and who's given it to you. So it will get announced tomorrow no matter what. So we wanted to just get ahead of it. And then we'll break down the whole thing. It's a really great story, and who our investors are amazing. And
I have one last question, just because I think it's good for like Sunday night, the Sunday pod, and then you can go more in depth on it on Wednesday. Is like, so sitting here today, you said you've cried, laughed, been stressed to shit already.
Yeah.
Leading into Monday. So now this is good. You've done it. It's off your plate. What is your attitude? Is your attitude like relief? Is it a new level of motivation? Is it fear? Is it like, honestly, what is your attitude going into Monday?
It is enormous amount of motivation because I know I have, you know, belief in what we're doing. Incredible amount of fear and stress. Like,
why?
It's because like with this, I mean, we've raised like $50-60 million, right? In the same amount of time that basically Uber raised that amount of money. Like we're on that trajectory. And you have to deliver, right? You just cannot not deliver. Yeah, we've delivered for the first 22 months, but you have to deliver till the exit whenever that happens. And I think I'll be honest, like I wake up in panic sweats at night all the fucking time. Like I travel 3-4 nights a week. I don't sleep. Like I'm in New York City. I come home at midnight. I wake up at 5 a.m. in sweats, stressed the fuck out. I go for a run. It's like I'm going to Vegas tomorrow morning. I'm driving because I don't want to get late because of flights. And I won't sleep in Vegas and I'll come back and it's like, I don't know if it's healthy or whatever it is, but it's like, I feel like I have this, we have this responsibility to deliver. And, the challenge for me is like, I've been doing this a very long time. If I was 26 years old, I might go to Vegas and have a good fucking time.
Yeah.
And be like, I just raised 30 mil, whatever. But, I haven't made it to the promised land. And so I want to question everything I've done in the past to be like, what didn't I do previously that hasn't gotten the result that I wanted? And that is what's like stressing me out. It's like, we've all worked together for a very long time, hiring people, firing people, right decision, all these strategy, all these things we think about. Like now I have a very different view of the world because it's like, I don't know if this is my last chance or not. It might be, right? Yeah. So it's like, I take it very, very seriously. So like, it's scary, just being honest.
Yeah, that's good.
It's scary in the sense that like, you're basically like, hey, this is my chance.
Yeah, exactly. Cause it's like, I always thought my previous journey was my chance. And I didn't think I would get another chance. I'll be honest. Like I literally did not think I would get another chance. And the fact that I got it, I'm like very scared that I got to make it work.
Yeah.
Why are you scared?
Because it's different. Before I didn't have wife, kids, tuition, shit like that to worry about. It's like, if I financially, it's very scary if you don't deliver. That's why I'm scared. I'm not scared because of ego reasons. Like I have no problem with failure. If I don't make it, I'm okay. Yep. I'm more scared of just like not being able to provide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it.
That doesn't feel good.
That makes sense.
Because that doesn't feel good.
Yeah. Well, it all starts again tomorrow.
Yes.
Good job. Can't wait
I'm
to hear
excited
more
for the TechCrunch article, and congratulations to you.
Thank you.
I'm very in tune with what's going on in venture fundraising, and it's virtually impossible to raise money right now unless you're an AI company.
We don't got no AI in our name.
And Dee and Josh were able to pull this off, and hats off. Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Great job.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Well, before you try to get some sleep with all this new anxiety, let's talk about some news. This might be triggering. Farfetch stock is down more than...
It's actually good for him.
Yeah, you're right.
It's good for Ghost. What are you talking about?
Farfetch stock is down more than 30% after missing their quarterly revenue expectations. What do you guys think? We've talked about Farfetch a lot on here.
So on a single day, the stock dropped 45%. Revenue projections for the quarter were like $650 million. It came in at 572. Lost over $280 million for the quarter, which is like, you only do it $570 million. How are you losing $280 million? It's luxury, which what we've always known is in a recession, luxury is the best place to be. Like you win. Yep. So I don't want to say that luxury is the issue, or is it Farfetch is the issue? Like,
I think the business doesn't work, right?
Yeah, I think like the biggest challenge...
It's just a marketplace of luxury goods, and their CAC doesn't meet their LTV. That's it.
You got to have a low CAC.
Yeah, you got to have a little CAC.
Little CAC.
If you have a little
CAC,
it's really simple.
Win. You can win with a little CAC.
This is really simple. Like we don't need to like litigate this. It's a low.
If you have a small CAC, you win.
Which is really strange. It's not, what I've always been told.
and everywhere in life, if you have a big CAC, you win.
Yeah, I thought life's all about, a CAC showing contest.
By the way, if you don't know what CAC is, just so I want to explain it, customer acquisition cost.
That's what we're talking about. So if you thought anything different, get your mind out of the gutter.
Sick fucks.
Yeah, you sickos. I think it just more surprises me because we've talked about like luxury is just such a hot space. Yeah. I think that's the, just, I don't know. Nothing's easy. And these people are dealing with all the same issues that we just talked about for the last 45 minutes and how tough this shit is. But I think the shocker is like luxury's usually hot in a down market. Luxury seems pretty untouchable. And it just seems like they're having a really hard time figuring it out.
Yeah. To me, it doesn't, I don't know. Something doesn't make sense. Like it's such a
too big of a CAC.
Yeah. You gotta, and they bought New Guards Group, which owns Off-White, Palm Angels, all those brands. So like they have like incredible IP as well. Like there's ways to monetize Off-White. Like, I'm sorry, like the brand's still very, very relevant. You can make money off of it.
Yeah. Okay. Bad news if you are a Meta employee that loves
to jerk off at home.
To play with your CAC at home. They're calling people back to the office. They're getting pretty strict. This is another one. We saw Zoom, I think it was last week or the week before, said it. So we're just, we're starting to see a lot of this sort of thing.
They, originally they were talking about being in the neighborhood, and now they're saying that you have to be there at least 3 days a week. And that was as of June. And it sounds like it's going a step further where it's pretty close to every single day. And they're saying that if you don't, in a memo, that like we will terminate people and move on. So I think the work from home party, at least in big tech, is changing. Like all of these larger companies are asking. And what's funny is it's a very different expectation from employees around the country where everyone wants to work from home more than ever.
Yeah.
So it's a mismatch. With the recession coming, like something has to reconcile. Like either employees give in or employers decide they're like, hey, we can't win this battle. My guess is the employers win. I don't think employees win this battle because I think if push comes to shove, there will be a new set of employees that will want to work at the office. I don't know. What are you seeing?
I think with a tough economy, that changes everything, right? If the economy's booming, everyone's doing well. I think, the employees probably win for quite a bit longer. But if you pair all of this with a tough economy on the way, and I think everyone kind of follows the lead a little bit, not everyone, but a lot of people of, these big tech companies. These are the biggest companies that we got. So you kind of follow like, oh, they're calling people back into the office. Why am I still letting people, work from home? I don't, our company in particular is still, the team is so small. We have like a pseudo, hybrid model that I'm actually pretty happy with. There is something that happens in small companies when everyone's in an office where everyone like chats and hangs out, and there's a different thing there that I kind of forgot. We did that a lot at the old days of Young and Reckless, but when I've had people back in the office, that's also been, a little bit of a distraction. So to me right now, for a small company like us, being half in, half out is totally been great. But longer term, and as we grow, like if we had 50 employees, I think it'd be much easier for me to just say everyone's in the office. I don't want to worry about some weird hybrid schedule. It's easy now.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's really interesting how you portray the like people being in the office and it's actually distraction.
Yeah.
Because I didn't actually understand that until like 2 episodes ago or whatever we talked about it. Yeah. And I was like, I never actually understood that.
Yeah. Like, what do you mean?
Meaning like you're saying like the employees are just like not doing things.
I think that there's just a lot, like, to your point, if you could perfectly engineer it, right? What you would do is you would maximize the amount of random conversations that lead to productive things, because that definitely does happen, and it doesn't happen with work from home. And you would somehow minimize all of the other, just kind of chit chat, or like, you know, talking about one person goes to the Taylor Swift concert and everyone's talking about it for 2 hours. I think that,
but is that a problem? No, actually, is that a problem?
So look, I want to be honest, just in case anyone from
I
our team.
actually have had multiple conversations with Ghost employees about the Taylor Swift concert.
It's a problem.
You're the
for
problem.
Us. You're the problem.
My honest answer, because I want to keep it real, because I know, who knows, people might listen to this. It hasn't been what I would call a problem yet. But I've just noticed, like, when you go from 2 years of working remote and there is zero of that happening, and sure, there's other shenanigans. There's people doing whatever they're doing, you know, not working. But when you see, you know, when you're in a room and you see people talking about it, and then you leave, and then you come back a couple hours later and they're still talking about it. And you're like, well, I know that there's work to be done. I literally know what it is that we're waiting on. It makes you think, like, what's the right amount here? Because just this having to, do this 5 days a week, and then someone has to kind of police, you know, at the Young and Reckless office, even though we were all about fun and whatever, we still walked around a lot just to let people know we were kind of looking, you know, we still whatever. And you have to kind of police. And it's just, when you haven't had to do it for 2 years, you just realize it now, whereas that was just the norm before.
So I have a really different take. I think, you know, being around the Ghost offices daily, I think being in person, you police yourself like automatically. So like, I'm not employed by D. I'm not employed by Ghost.
Who shows him to the office every day?
You are the problem.
No, but my point is that everyone kind of like builds this camaraderie.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And I see it. And I see it with like Javier and Helen and Jordan and all these guys. Like they literally build this camaraderie where like, hey, we need to like build towards like getting something done. Yeah. And that would not happen if it was remote.
Yeah, I agree with you. And like I said, I want to be really clear how I represent this.
I watch it firsthand.
Yeah, look, all that I'm saying is, as someone who's kind of experimenting with different options right now, I have also noticed that something like Monday through Wednesday, it's like, what's on your to-do list? What's on your Notion? Get your stuff done. Let's just work. And then Thursday, Friday, we're working together. And maybe Friday we have a lunch catered. And like that, to me, also feels like an interesting balance. And so for me, with, you know, let's just say 15 people that are local, not 50, not whatever, there's something that seems a little more nuanced to it than just everybody all the time. And once again, to reiterate, if I had 50 people, the answer would definitely be everyone in all the time, because who has the time to manage that schedule of who's in, who's out, blah, blah, blah. But there's something to like head down, work on your Slack and your Notion, get your deliverables done, get your to-dos for the week out, get your selling reports. It's just, we're getting our work done. And then there's this kind of cadence to the week where the bonding happens Thursday, Friday, and people kind of miss each other. And, you know, I don't know. I'm not saying I have the answer. I'm just saying.
No, I get it. I actually see the in-person, like, kind of magic in the Ghost environment that I'm like, why wouldn't other companies want to do that?
Yeah. I've just seen now the difference between, like, we have a team that is pretty, like, they're pretty responsible. And so Monday through Wednesday or Monday through Thursday, most of them, like, they get their shit done. You know, like everyone's at home or wherever they like to work from, and they're just cranking through work. I mean, I've literally had people be in the office when everyone's there and be like, hey, do you mind if I break out and like go to the coffee shop or whatever? Because I just need to like focus. Like there's too much talking happening. Or, you know, and I understand that now, like specifically from
like from an engineering standpoint, or a position that doesn't require to be very social. Like some folks just need that quiet time to get work done. So I'm not against this hybrid workforce, but I do think it's important to spend time together, because I do think you do create some magic that way.
I agree. And to be clear, I don't think it's scalable. So if I was Facebook or Twitter or anyone else,
it's easier just to say,
and just say fucking everybody in.
Yep. All right.
Love it. Okay, listeners, because you guys both know, because it's on our list, I want you to take a moment to guess who the biggest seller of sushi in America is. Who does the most volume of sushi in America? I know what you're all thinking. Katsuya. Maybe it's Sugarfish. Maybe even Benihana. I don't know. Maybe they pump out a bunch of sushi. Nope. The answer is Kroger.
Unbelievable, right?
Unbelievable. I mean, this is a tweet from Gunjan. We love Gunjan. She's been on the pod before. Highlights really interesting stuff like this. And I mean, Kroger, to me, I can't do it. I love sushi. I just can't go there, but maybe I'm wrong.
So Kroger, which is based in Cincinnati, Ohio, owns Ralph's, bought to by Albertson, is reportedly selling 40 million pieces of sushi in a year.
It's just sushi. I just have trouble with it. I mean, look, obviously I'm, in the minority here, but there's just something
like their chief merchant
close to an ocean.
Their chief merchant officer was like, when customers think of sushi, we want them to think of Kroger.
I mean, I want to hate on it, but it sounds like they're doing it.
Yeah, they are. It's like, I think what's interesting is like people, want to like dunk on like people in the middle of the country, and you would think an executive of Kroger, they don't know what they're doing, but they're the largest seller of sushi in America.
Wild.
It's kind of wild. Like,
it's also just really makes me realize, like, the side that I take is like, how many people haven't, like, how big is the open market for sushi?
Yeah.
Because that experience is terrible. Like, I just want to, like, I live 100 yards from a Sugarfish, and the difference of ordering it versus going in person is night and day. Just the time it takes to drive it 100 yards or walk it 100 yards if I go pick it up. It is a night and day difference. And so what you're telling me is that even Kroger sushi, which is just sitting there, in a refrigerated unit, sometimes, all day, I'm sure, before you come grab it, people are still that hungry for it. So there must be like a huge untapped market.
Yeah, I mean, that just tells you like a chain like Sugarfish can basically enter every city in America and do well. There's an audience. If Kroger is selling the most sushi in America, then like basically everyone could be at that level. Yeah.
There's just a hunger for sushi, I guess, that because, like when I moved here, I had I still have a 15-year-old palate, but like sushi seemed insane.
Crazy. Yeah.
And like I started with like California rolls, which was like a little bit of crab and then like whatever. And it just seems like maybe more and more people are like into eating sushi. That's an interesting thing. Like, I wonder what other opportunities there are with that.
Yeah, I think the palate in America is so different than the rest of the world. Like when you go to Italy, it's Italian food.
Yeah.
When you go to China, it's Chinese food. You go to Korea, it's Korean food.
Yeah.
America is a very unique place when it comes to like palate, like where sushi, 40 million pieces are sold through a grocery store. That's just a grocery store. I think Americans are open when it comes to cuisine. If it's good, they'll eat it.
It's like, could you have like the McDonald's of sushi?
I 100% think you can. In fact,
it feels like an opportunity to me.
John Turgeon from Hwood, that was his dream in college. He wanted to do a fast food sushi place.
You should revisit it.
It was called Fushi.
Oh, I remember that name. I remember that. It just seems like an opportunity now. It seems like the amount of people that are trying it is obviously going way up. I mean, think about just 40 million pieces of sushi this year. Think of all those people that are being exposed to it, that are now okay with it, that have gotten over kind of the that's gross hump. I feel like you could have the frickin', at a minimum, you could have like the Chipotle of sushi. You know, maybe it's a little bit more custom.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's there. Crazy.
This seems gross. Okay, how about this? We got a tweet from Jason Calacanis, friend of the pod. He posted this list of the cost of Ozempic in, by country. And, we've talked a lot about Ozempic, and, I would say we've been very supportive here on the pod, but there's a little bit of an issue. The price in the US is vastly different than the price in other countries, like 8x, sometimes 10x.
10x. Right?
So list price for 1 month supply of Ozempic, Wegovy, and Mounjaro. In the United States, $900 something. Wegovy is $1,300 and Mounjaro is $1,000. In Canada, which is not far, $147 a month. If you live in America and you want Ozempic,
yeah, that feels predatory.
Take your ass to Canada.
You might as well. It's like Taylor Swift tickets. You might as well fly to Canada, get your Ozempic, come home. It's cheaper.
Yeah. Go see a show in Toronto and lose 30 pounds.
It's just, I mean, obviously the U.S. is, the one struggling with the most obesity. And this feels very predatory.
Very predatory. It's a joke. U.S. pharma, I hate United States pharmaceutical companies.
But they gave us the vax, D. They're good guys. By the way, I just finished Painkiller. I've been taking all your Rex. I don't know.
God.
Holy shit.
Painkiller is kind of sad. Depressing.
It's sad. Well, the good thing is I already watched Dope Sick, which is pretty much just like Hulu's version or whatever the network that did that.
Okay, I got it.
And but man, it is brutal.
Yeah, I was like, I can't watch this at night. This is too depressing.
It's just such a predatory industry, man. And you see it here even with Ozempic. I thought Ozempic was all good. We're all just losing weight.
So what do you think the problem is, right?
No, big pharma in America controls pricing.
Taxing the insurance companies.
Yeah, they can tax anything. And by the way, you have to be a diabetic to get insurance covered. You can be overweight and not be a diabetic, and then you have to pay for it. That's not fair.
I wonder if there's doctors. Remember how there used to be weed doctors that would you have insomnia. Here's your weed prescription. I wonder if there's it sounds like you're diabetic.
No, there's plenty of Ozempic doctors.
Yeah, that's, I know a lot of people in that space.
Well, either way, it's just, I think the thing that gets me, if I could put it into quick terms, is it's just the whole industry is so predatory. Just preys on people. And it just fucks people up.
I mean, when you watch Painkiller, it's like gut wrenching.
Yeah, I'm fresh off of that, so I have a bad taste. Okay, how about this? China. So we've talked about China a lot. I think the topic about China has been that over the last, 40 years, it's just exploded. It's went from, not notable to the second largest economy in the world. They've absolutely exploded, and it's started to really scare people. Then they have things like, TikTok and these things that come to America, and there's been a lot of fear. They now are having a lot of trouble, a lot of economic trouble. And, we don't ever know the exact issues because it's China and, they're very tight-lipped about that. But there's some, pretty obvious, really big problems.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big challenge is that China is having a number of issues happen at once. One is they have a real estate crisis on their own. They have some of their largest real estate companies imploding. They also have very high unemployment for their youth. That's also an issue. then you have like their COVID recovery has not been like America. Like their citizens are not spending like we are. And now they're cutting interest rates to hopefully stimulate the economy. And then their biggest business is export, right? Manufacturing export, which we all make stuff. We're all making less stuff than we did 2 years ago. So that is one. And then the other is so many of the largest companies, because of COVID, have diversified where they make stuff. So they're not just making in China anymore. They're making in Vietnam and India and Korea and whatever other countries they can make product in, or even in America. And so definitely like over the next couple of years, where does this country really fit? And like they had this incredible run. They've controlled their population. They came out with TikTok. But what else have they done?
It's so weird to me that, like with how much, maybe I have this wrong somehow, but with how much their economy relies on ours, it's so strange that they're so outspoken about like wanting to dominate us.
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't
like,
make sense.
Why wouldn't you just be secretive about it? I'm not saying you're not going to do it or you're not going to try to do it, but like they're pretty open and outspoken about their plans, and it just seems weird.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't know the answer for that.
It also seems weird to me that they used sort of a capitalism model to grow really quickly and then sort of started putting the squeeze on that same model that worked. And that seems to be, once again, we don't know the extent of trouble that caused, but seems to be causing some trouble, and obviously hurts incentivizing the next round of Jack Ma's. That seems weird too. It almost seems like I don't know, there's like this quest for like dominance today that like kind of gets in the way.
Yeah. I don't know. I used to think they were playing the game right. They seem like kind of dropping the ball here. Yeah,
it seems like, not that we want them to pick the ball up, but it just feels like some missteps here. Which is great, because for a little while there, I was legitimately worried. I feel better now. I still really think to be honest with you, I think mainly fentanyl and TikTok are way worse for our country than we realize.
Yeah.
Fentanyl, obviously, we know how bad it is, but the fact that like to me, it is weaponized.
Yeah.
But it does make me feel better. Not to mention, I think you mentioned it, D. I don't know if we got it or not because we were cutting out, but Zohan says we got 9 more years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Okay. Last but not least, I didn't read this on purpose. The number one city in the United States with the worst traffic is not LA or New York. I have no idea. I'm so lost if it's not one of those two. Is it like a random, it's not Chicago?
You don't think it's Chicago? It is Chicago.
Is it Chicago?
Chicago, Boston, New York, Philly, Miami, LA, San Francisco, DC, Houston.
Wow.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
How do they? Yeah. So that means Chicago and Boston ahead?
I think, yeah. What people don't realize, like people always want to say LA has the worst traffic. As someone that basically travels to all these cities all the time, New York is unfucking bearable. Unbearable. Yeah. It's just
they discount it because you can walk. So they say LA is worse, but
because you don't actually drive. Most people drive. Yeah. LA, post-pandemic, LA has much less traffic.
Yeah.
I can't stress. I live off Sunset. When I used to go out on Sunset at 7:30 in the morning, it was a parking lot.
Yeah.
7:30 in the morning now, nobody there. Zero. There's like literally no traffic. The traffic doesn't even pick up till like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and it's not that bad. So there is a traffic shift in LA because of post-pandemic. But
wait till everyone goes back to work.
Yeah, that's the one downfall of going back to work.
Yeah. All right. Well, unfortunately, we're I kind of want to be number one. I got to be honest. I'm a little hurt.
Yeah.
All right. That's all we got. We got some shout outs.
We got a shout out. Joe M. Kramer to Charlie. Want to give out A shout out to my buddy Charlie in LA, OG Kathy, who turned me on to the pod. Getting married this weekend in San Diego. Chuck's a real one, and congrats to him and his bride, Taylor. Hopefully you got married on Saturday when it was nice and dry and not have to deal with the rain.
Yeah, maybe he didn't get married. So, Chuck, if you made it, congrats.
Yeah, exactly.
If not, try again next weekend.
Another one is from our guy, Patrick Henry Williams. To all the Kathys in San Diego. Shout out to all the Kathys in San Diego. Try not to get blown off the map during the hurricane.
Patrick, that's not very, that's not
very
nice.
motivational.
Blown off the map. I don't know if that's the correct terminology.
Lastly is from Alex, aka at Agent Alexander, to himself.
Nice.
Please shout me out. I've been a longtime fan. Love the podcast, especially the stock advice. By the way, Alex, we do not give financial advice on this podcast.
Yeah. Careful, Alex. Love it. Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, we did it. We survived. I will tell all the Kathys, it looks like the rain is slightly less than when we started.
Good.
We're survivors. And we'll talk to you on Wednesday. Everyone have a great week.
Bye-bye and no intro.
No intro. Bye-bye. Let us know what you thought.